Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Navs Effect podcast. I'm your host, Naveen Ganglani. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're a returning listener, thanks for giving our podcast another chance. If you happen to be a new listener, we hope that you will give this podcast the chance to earn your airwaves, whether that's long drives or whether if you're doing house chores at home. Much appreciated. And like I said, I hope that we can hook you guys in for the long haul. Joining me today are Karl Batumbakal and Simoun Redoblado, familiar guests of this podcast. We'll be previewing the UAAP Final Four, NU versus LaSalle, UP versus UST. We've had what I would say a pretty insane elimination round, a lot of excitement, a lot of fun, but nevertheless, we eventually have to crown a winner, and the Final Four is the first step to doing that. So we're gonna answer some burning questions, and I couldn't have picked better guys to join me. Simon, Carl, welcome to the podcast. How do you guys feel about being live? The Navs Effect podcast is live after a long time. These guys and girls who are watching our episodes get to see your handsome faces in action with your micro expressions and your reactions live as they happen.
Always fun to be here, dude.
The return of the live playback sessions is upon us. The Final Four couldn't have been a better time for this. Hi, Navs. Hi, Carl.
You know what? Real wants know about the Nabs effect after dark. This little segment we used to do a year or two ago where we'd have some of these lives at like 11 p.m. after the game and it would get a little crazy. But I do want to shout out some of the members of our community tuning in live. Luis, of course, and Fran Lu. Fran Lu, many of you remember him when his mom got mad at him at one of our lives a year and a half ago, which was one of the funniest experiences ever. But just to give you guys some backstory quickly, I'm not going to take up too much time because we went live today after I asked our community in our exclusive community chat, hey, do you guys want another live episode? We haven't done that in a while because a lot of these have been pre-recorded and posted on our respective platforms, right? But plenty said yes. I think plenty want to interact. These episodes are happening, so why not? And I'm seeing more comments right now. What's up, Nico? And already, yes, we have some questions. Hitachi, thanks for the question. We'll be answering that shortly. But first, Carl, you had your Cooper's Coffee House recently. I saw that Instagram story. What did you order? You got the dirty matcha? You enjoy that?
Brother, it's always gonna be dirty matcha for me only because wala,
You
gusto ko yung
like it
flavor, eh,
dirty?
ba't ba?
Nah.
Siyempre.
Pause. But no, the dirty
Pause.
matcha, I haven't tried that. I've tried the matcha latte though. I bet it gave you so much energy for the day, didn't it?
Oh yeah, I was pumped up. I was awake until like 1:30 a.m. last night. So effective.
Fantastic, fantastic. Hey, I was up to like three watching Stranger Things. I'm three episodes in. So no spoilers in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, a big thank you to Cooper's Coffee House for always supporting the Navs Effect podcast. It's always such a thrill to go to their Mega Mall branch and work there for a few hours, order a matcha brown butter latte, and I can't wait to check out their BGC branch. So again, thank you to Cooper. So Simon, UP-UST, before we really get into the nitty-gritty, also LaSalle NU, before we get into the specifics of what we're looking for, X's and O's, just general thoughts about each matchup, because you have a pretty exciting feature, a preview coming out on All-Star Magazine within the next few days. So I don't want you to spoil too much of what you wrote, but give us an idea of what came into your mind right away when you realized these four teams are gonna be our last four standing as of today.
Well, without giving too much away, because I'd like our viewers to catch my UAAP Season 88 Final Four preview on All Star Magazine this week. Okay. The first thing that came to my mind, Navs, when I thought about UP-UST is how poetic is it that this game that we saw on opening weekend featured basically what would have been two vastly different teams. Okay. UP was not the same team that lost by 20 in QPAB. UST, to an extent, is also not that same team that won 87-67 on September the 21st. Okay. As for NU and LaSalle, I keep forgetting that NU is the only team this season to defeat LaSalle two times. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, Okay, over the past two seasons, NU holds three elimination round wins over LaSalle. Ateneo has one over LaSalle. UST has one over LaSalle. UP has zero elimination round wins over LaSalle over the past two seasons. So it's going to be very interesting to see if NU indeed proves to be LaSalle's kryptonite in the Final Four.
Interesting. Well, we're going to find out because NU has matched up well against DLSU. They've won the last three elimination round games against LaSalle, dating back to the second round last year when Kevin Kemba was still in the green and white. Carl, which from these two series, if you had to pick, like let's say you had time only to watch one game on Wednesday, right? Because you had some work to catch up to hypothetically. Would you pick NU-DLSU or UST-UP? I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but I want to find out.
I mean, for me, without even thinking about it too much, it has to be UP and UST. Only because I think these two teams are the most evenly matched up this so far this season in the Final Four at least. Because UP strong defensive team, we can see that their wing defense is insane. You have who do you call this? Raylan Torres. You have Jacob Baila. You have Mark Belmonte. So if you go on the UST side, you have Nick Cabanero to contend with. You have Colin Sokowe inside. And then you have Forsky Padrigal Manning as the point guard. It's offense versus defense. Which one comes out on top on Wednesday? UP-UST is easy for me.
Well, we're gonna find out soon enough which ends up being the most exciting game, but I have a feeling they'll be equally as exciting. Let's get to the burning questions. Now, what I've done is ask these two gentlemen to come up with three burning questions for, you know, they could pick UP versus UST or NU versus DLSU. And we're each going to ask ourselves that question. So that's going to be nine from the three of us. And the final question is our predictions. Who do we think are going to win? Now, I was very tempted to not put the predictions part into this episode because we know the history of this podcast when it comes to predictions and how people seem to hold grudges about certain predictions. And then when these people of their teams are eliminated early, they suddenly stop commenting. Oy, kala ko, ganitong... Oh, wait, sorry. I got distracted there. But anyway,
Are
back to
you
the
talking
topic
about
here,
a
gentlemen.
specific school, Navs? It seems like you're pertaining to a particular school that I think I passed by like years ago in Manila. Anyway.
Well, you know what, Simon? We'll leave it at that. Just some of them disappeared, let's say, after a lot of trash talk throughout the season. I will say this, though. Coach Sean Chambers, they deserve, them and NU in particular, deserve to like go at it for my predictions because I was totally wrong on those two teams in particular. And like I said about FU the last time we had this podcast, they're gonna be really good next season. And I can't wait to see what they do. But first, with season 88, so the first burning question from me: can National University continue to shoot efficiently versus DLSU? Now, what do I mean by that? If you look at the numbers between NU and DLSU, NU won both games, like Simon mentioned. And the biggest reason to me why they won those two games was because of how effective they were with their shot selection and shot conversion against LaSalle's defense. In round one, NU shot 56% from the field against DLSU, including 25 of 39 from inside the three-point line. So they were incredibly efficient overall, but extremely efficient when they looked to attack DLSU in the paint and use their physicality to their advantage. In round two, NU shot 52% from the field, but they did a little better from outside, 9 out of 18 from three-point distance. And I remember that game, Steve Nash Enriquez was on fire. Carl Batong Bacal's Stan, Paul Francisco's on fire. But I'm not sure if Carl is still such a Stan after seeing Paul's TikTok the other day, which plus points for creativity, let's just say. NU for the season is shooting 42.9% from the field. That's number one in the UAAP. Now, they're also shooting 32.6% from downtown. That is also number one in the UAAP. Granted, it's on the lowest volume of attempts for all teams in the league. So, Simon, I'll start with you here. Do you think the shooting numbers we saw from NU in their elimination round games against DLSU was a matter of circumstance? It just so happened those days NU shot really well? Or is there something that NU likes to attack about this LaSalle defense that allows them the opportunity to shine on the offensive end?
I think Nav's the efficiency and the effectiveness of NU's 3 point field goal performance will hinge on two people. That would be Jake Figueroa and Steve Nash Enriquez. Now, little spoiler, in my article, I say that Steve Nash Enriquez will be the X factor for NU in this Final Four series against LaSalle because he can dictate the tone for NU on both ends of the floor. Now, you said that in round two, shot the lights out. He top scored for the Bulldogs. I think the skill that he and Jake bring to the table that would be most valuable to this Final Four series would be their ability to drive and kick because their ability to draw two, sometimes even three defenders in the paint opens up all those shots for the likes of Jalo Santiago and Paul Francisco and all their other shooters, Reynaldo Mamoy, who now doesn't have to take threes a la James Harden, dribble, 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 and then shoot. Now he can actually do catch and shoots. How about that, right? So as long as Jake and Nash draw those defenders constantly in the paint, I think NU will continue to shoot efficiently.
Carl, how about you? Where do you stand on that question?
I think NU's gonna keep doing it. Without a shadow of a doubt, I think the point about NU this season being so good, and being a major problem for a lot of teams is because they can shoot well, whether it's inside the paint or outside of it. The perimeter scoring can be improved on, but NU is a weird team. I can say that much. At the very least, they're it's a confusing thing, NU, because NU's scoring, they're number one in 3 point field goal percentage, as you mentioned. First in total field goal as well, but they're fourth in points in the paint and sixth in 2 point field goal percentage. So where does the offense come from? I think it would be from the free throws. I think they will be able to draw some very, very close end one calls in the paint against LaSalle. So shooting wise, yes, I think they're gonna be able to do it.
My question about the fouls is when NU gets fouled, will we see another epic sequel to the Omar John Golden Globe worthy performance in terms of, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I felt like Omar John could be the next Creed or Rocky Balboa movie, bro. He got the moves, man. No, I'm just joking. We like Omar John. Um, I'm not so sure it will be that efficient because one of the reasons why I think NU was able to also get a high percentage against DLSU was their ability to get out on the break and transition early and connect on early fast break opportunities. Now, granted, I think LaSalle's transition defense, at least now, is a little bit better compared to what it was early in the season when, for example, if you watch that UE game, they were just bleeding points on fast break opportunities again and again and again. I mean, they look like the LA Clippers there for so many instances. Um, Simon, why are you doing that, man? Why are you doing? You thought of our friend JP Manan there, real quick, Simon.
Hey, I'm the resident James Harden apologist in the group chat, man. Don't be talking about my beard's team like that. No, just kidding. Okay. The Clippers suck. Proceed.
You James Harden? You mean the reason why they canceled starting five? Nah, I'm just joking. I like that show. They should have brought it back. But anyway, back to the UAAP. Yeah, I thought that NU was able to capitalize on transition. I think DLSU is a little bit better in that regard now, which also though brings the question of what kind of impact Kian Baklaan will make. And we're gonna get into that later, so I don't want to dig deep too much right now. I do think NU's not gonna shoot in the high 50s when it comes to the Final Four. The pressure, it feels like an old cliche, but at the same time, it's kind of true as well. I've just watched the UAP for so many years to see, particularly role players tend to miss a lot of the easier shots in the elimination round when it comes to the Final Four. But I still think NU is gonna get quality shots against LaSalle, particularly if Mike Phillips gets into early foul trouble because at this point, we know that Topex doesn't trust Bright Nuanco enough to be in the rotation, which means you're looking at a backup big like Pablo, or maybe a smaller lineup. And once you get Palacelo, Padrones, John crashing the offensive glass, even Figueroa against a DLSU smaller lineup, that's when I feel like it's going to be really dangerous for LaSalle, which is why it's very important Mike stays out of foul trouble because he really is the rim deterrent for the Bulldogs who have shot really well in the paint. Simon, what are your other takeaways before we move on to the next burning question about, or rather from LaSalle and NU's elimination round series that you're watching out for?
Three words: Bobby Mark Parks. I think this guy could make a difference in the Final Four because in the postseason you get to appreciate the importance of depth all the more, right? So when you think of depth, usually in the UAAP, you think of the tremendous recruitment of LaSalle, of UP, of Ateneo, of UST. Hey, NU is the number one team in the league in the elimination round for a reason, for more than one reason actually, and one of them is depth. So when you can get a legit 3 and D guy like Bobby Mark Parks, who can, not fully contain Jacob Cortez, but at least make his life difficult, right? Um, those misses that Parks could force on ball handlers like Cortez or even other uh, floor generals on their lineup, even we don't know if Baklan's going to come back, but I can see Parks taking the challenge of defending him as well. Yeah, all those uh, defensive stops that Parks can bring to the table will definitely mean a lot for the Bulldogs in the Final Four.
Fantastic. Now we're gonna get to our next burning question here, but at the same time, I first want to talk about a friend of this podcast, another friend, Daily Fantasy. For those of you who don't know, Daily Fantasy has their big prize challenges coming up till the end of December, really basking into that Christmas spirit, giving guys a chance to win big and maybe get yourself that Christmas present you've been eyeing for a while now. The details of which games with big pot prizes on the line are on the screen. You can register for a daily fantasy account, whether on the app or on their web page, using the link that I'm going to put in the description box. And I also put a referral code there so you could get an early entry price. Again, big money on the line. Check out the games that will be showing on the ticker underneath the screen and register for a daily fantasy account. Now, it's your turn to win big. Okay, Simon, you want to go ahead and give us your first burning question for the Final Four?
Thanks, Navs. I do. So my first question, gentlemen, is which Ray Remogat will the Fighting Maroons be getting on Wednesday? Will it be the Remogat that was doubting his scoring abilities in round one, or was it the Remogat that shot efficiently when the Fighting Maroons extracted their pound of flesh from the Growling Tigers in that scintillating 1 point victory in round two? Carl, what do you think?
I think we're at a point where Ray Remogat has become undeniable for the Fighting Maroons. And it's hyperbole to say, yes, because I was one of his harshest critics when he started out with the Fighting Maroons this season. And I told everyone that UP will miss the Final Four if Ray Remogat does not come up to form. Kudos to him. He's back. I think he's even better than his UE days. And in the Final Four, where the pressure is most high, he's gonna show up. He's gonna show up.
I just want to say, Navs, that I think subconsciously Carl is thinking of the American Nightmare when he says undeniable. Anyway, wrestling fans will get that. Navs, back to you.
Well, I want to hear what you think, Simon, because I feel like we've seen Ray better than ever in the UAAP in terms of winning impact. I know a lot of people will say, okay, his stats at UE were better. He was an MVP candidate, which he was. He was a runner up to KQ 2 seasons ago. But in terms of the decision making, the pace, and just knowing where to be on the court, I feel like Ray is better than we've ever seen him.
Um, Volume wise, numbers wise, I think I'd have to give the nod to Remo Goat of the UE days. But yes, maturity wise, hardcourt IQ wise, the wonders that Coach Goldwyn Monteverde has done for this young man's career can't be understated. So, yes, I think compared to that round one matchup, even compared to the round two matchup, I think we'll see Remogat take even smarter shots, even better shots, while also not neglecting to set up his teammates. And boy, if people were raving about that Harold Alarcon, Gani Stevens high pick and roll, wait till you get the full blast of the Ray Remogat, Gani Stevens pick and roll, which I believe UST is already trying to anticipate, as smart as their coaching staff is.
So with Ray, the question for me isn't on the offensive end, particularly when he can target Akowe in pick and roll situations when Akowe is in drop. Because if you give Ray enough room to unleash from downtown or to take mid range jumpers or get to the rim, he's pretty efficient. You can rely on him. He's one of the better 3-point shooters in the league today. With Ray, the question for me is going to be on the other side of the court, the defensive end. Knowing Kyle Paranada, knowing how Forsky Padrigao operates, they're gonna get Remagat in a lot of PNR situations, defending ball screen actions. And if he does get stuck or UP ends up having to send two to the ball, how can UST take advantage of that help defense, the opening and the gaps to get 3-point shooting opportunities? Or are they gonna try to play one on one and see if they can limit Akowe? Which is another burning question we're gonna get to later. But for now, Carl, what's your first burning question?
All right, all right. Let me pull up the list. So let's stay with UST and UP. So my question is, does UST have enough firepower to overcome UP's defense? Because as it stands, Akowe and Cabanero account for about 33.22 points of UST in the eliminations. Their next highest scorer is Jello Crisostomo, surprisingly, at 10.57 per game. And then you have Fortsky as the fourth best scorer on UST. I think it's a problem that UST is going to have with UP. The wing defense for UP, we've been raving about it for the entirety of the season, and we've seen it. And it's the most crucial element to UP's success so far. But now in the Final Four, will UST be able to break that?
Well, Simon, you take this first.
I was trying my very best to insert the word contrapelo in that article. Ultimately, I didn't, but when I think UP-UST, when I think NU Lasal, talagang naiisip ko yung term na yun, contrapelo. You talk about the tremendous wing defense, Carl, that the Fighting Maroons bring to the table. Well, how do you counteract that? By having a behemoth, by having a Leviathan in the paint. So, paano ka babantay ng husto dun sa perimeter kung meron kang kailangan na i-contain na Collins Okowe, na MVP? No, sorry. Kung meron kang kailangan i-contain na Collins Okowe dun sa paint, right? So, I do think that the Growling Tigers have enough firepower. They were the number one team on offense in the elimination round. And when those shots, in particular from the outside by Amiel Asido and Jello Crisostomo and Koji Buenaflor and Ice Danting and Leland Estacio, di ba, napakalalim netong lineup ng UST in terms of perimeter firepower. The question is, will they be able to capitalize on those open shots once Akowe swings the ball to them? But yeah, in terms of potential, UST definitely can bring that firepower.
Okay, so we've mentioned Akowe a few times now, and he's one of the next burning questions. So I feel like it's connected, and I'm just gonna bring it up. My second burning question was: will UP limit Collins Akowe? Across two games versus the reigning champs, Akowe has averaged 27.5 points, 16.5 rebounds on 68% field goal shooting. Now the free throws, of course, we know all about that. I believe he went 10 out of 20 in the second game against UP when it comes to the free throw line. And I feel like we're gonna see at least one game in this Final Four that's high fouls, a lot of free throw attempts for UST, and it might be part of the plan because there will be situations they're gonna force a Kowe to get 2 points at the foul stripe instead of doing it with an easy layup or an easy dunk. We've seen UP employ this strategy before. I don't think one on one there's someone at UP who could defend or quote unquote stop a Kowe. Not sure Gianni or Francis as individuals can keep Akowe away from the ring enough when you take into account his size and height and everything else. He has sound sound footwork that I think doesn't get enough credit given that He's straight out of high school. So it's gonna be more of a team effort, which means if UP is gonna send double or triple teams to try and deny Akoe, one, how quickly can you get those passes out to the open man? And two, do you trust UST to hit enough outside shots? I believe they were second maybe in the league in 3 point, not sure about 3 point percentage, but they were one of the higher ranked teams when it came to 3 point makes and attempts. So can guys like Caballero, Acido, Lemit, Crisostomo make UP pay from outside? Because if they can, then I give UST a legit chance to win this series.
Yeah, if we were to connect the dots, Navs and Carl, so damay na natin yung NU dito sa usapan na to. I think, obviously, UP lost that round one matchup against UST. But they saw, I think, what NU did to UST, okay? And they said, gagayahin natin yan. NU sped up the game, and it sort of limited the effectiveness of Akoe, particularly in the half court. So, nagtataka yung ibang UP fans, right? Oh, bakit si Palangka tsaka si Iniguez yung mga bigs natin? Paano naman magsusurvive yan against Akoe, right? Well, the solution was, the blueprint was, bilisan din natin yung laro tulad ng ginawa ng NU, and let's challenge Collins to keep up with our speed. And on the other hand, let's try to get easy baskets in transition. Now, the cap on all of that would be yung gamble na ginawa nila, and that was, all right, Akoe gets the ball in the paint. Kung wala na talaga tayo magawa, let's foul him. And I think that gambit worked in round two because while Akoe accounted, as usual, right, for most of the points of UST in that game, and dami rin yung misses from the free throw line in a game that they lost by how many? 1 point. So I think UP will consider going to that strategy once more.
By the way, to those tuning in, let us know in the comments what you think. You can answer the questions along with us. The recent question was, will UP be able to limit Colin Sokoe in this series? Carl, I'm going to also let you answer the Okoe-related question. But my sister Nicole wants to know your thoughts on Adamson, please. I think she's curious about your sentiments on the Soaring Falcons.
On the Soaring Falcons, well, very quickly, let's get sidetracked here a bit. Personally, I love Adamson. Because my editor-in-chief is from Adamson. Aside from that fact, I love Adamson. Joke lang. But everything else aside,
Same here, same here, same here, same here.
everything else aside,
Way.
everything else aside, I'm happy we eliminated Adamson. Cedric Manzano, I'm so sorry. You're one of my favorite players in the UAP the past 5 seasons, and I wish it could have been a different ending, but you know, we had to get that chance for Ateneo. Uh, Adamson is a nice community. They're a nice fan base. The classmates. Tama ba ako, Navs?
Classmates, yeah, with the K.
Yes. Yeah, pero tama naman ako, di ba? Mabait yung fan base nila.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. You know what? People think I'm sarcastic, but I actually like interacting with Adamson fans online. Um, I'll save my Adamson fan interaction story for Life Corner later on. Why not? Well, because I know Carl has a good story too, so I want to make sure that my story not the same level, but at least can be pretty entertaining. However, before we continue, shout out to Mr. Klets Joe Amos, the father of the one and only Mason Amos, checking out the episode right now. Tita Klets, nice to see your boy back on the court, and nice to see you here checking out the podcast. So, Carl, what do you think? Will Akoe put up the same numbers against UP in the Final Four that we saw him do in the elimination round?
I think Akowe will be limited. I won't say he's gonna be dominant because he will be for some stretches, especially when Sean Alter's on the floor, when you have the rotational bigs of UP. Because the biggest problem for UP, and I've been pointing this out to a lot of my friends as well in the industry, the biggest problem for UP is who's gonna defend the paint when Gani Stevens is on the bench. The answer to that, I don't know. It can be Sean Alter, but sometimes we've seen him get lost, foul a lot, or just he's not in the play. He's not effective on the play. So UST will have to take advantage of that. Colin Sokowe will have to take advantage of that. But if Gani is on the floor, or Francis Nuruko to a certain degree, because God bless him, he will get cooked of maybe 3-4 times. It has to be Cabanero this time. It's not going to be a total domination for Colin Sokowe, but he will be effective to what degree we don't know.
Interesting. And by the way, I like that people are sending in questions. And I think we have two questions now for the quote unquote mailbag we'll be answering later on. So just keep them coming as we go through our own questions first. Simon, go next. What's your next burning question?
Okay, my next burning question will be on the other side of the Final Four. So, gentlemen, how will LaSalle limit the towering front line of NU, which includes, but it's not limited to, Omar John, PJ Palacielo, and Kenshin Padrones?
Carl, you want to take this first?
Yeah, okay. The answer to that is I don't think they will be able to. I don't think LaSalle will be able to contend with NU's front court effectively. Only to a certain degree, yes. But to say that NU will be limited in the front court, I don't think so. Because Kenshin Padrones and PJ Palacielo, the big boys of NU, have become some of my favorite players to watch. And they've been crucial to NU's play this season. And the stats don't tell the complete impact that they have for NU. But based solely on the eye test, because I can't pull up the numbers right now because I'm talking. So, but based solely on the eye test, it's going to be a problem for LaSalle. But take note, Luis Pablo and Voris Marasigan have been improving very, very well for DLSU. So that will we'll have to see if it comes up in the Final Four. How about you, Navs?
Boris Marasigan, you mean Joseph Yo 2.0, only bigger? A bigger Joseph Yo. What do you guys think of that comparison? The hang time, the midi pull up, the drives to the rim. Tell me you
Uh,
see it, right? Right?
Boris Marasigan is
Or
Joseph.
Jeron Teng, and if Jeron Teng and Joseph Yo had a baby,
I was gonna say if Joseph Yo and Coach Willie Wilson had a baby. Hi, Coach.
Mas better si Coach Willie, I would say. Mas apt yung Coach Willie.
by the way, hello to Flever Dignadice, player for CEU in the UCAL, former Adamson Soaring Falcon. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, Fever, you gotta come to the runs again with us soon when the runs are back, for sure. I'm trying to get these two gentlemen to join us in some runs soon. And Kiwi says Marcigan reminds me of Jeron Teng too, honestly. I do see the Jeron Teng body wise. Marcigan is a better mid range shooter at this point. I think we're forgetting that he's only in his second season. I mean, can you imagine if he's transferred to. Oops, never mind. That just slipped out. But let's just say DLSU should be happy that he is still in the green and white because he looks like a future stud for the Green Archers for the years to come. What was the question again? Sorry, I forgot, Simon. I got sidetracked there a bit.
Look at this guy trying to throw us off track, pretending to let certain tidbits slip. I don't think we should let him get away with this, Carl. Siguro di-DM
No,
natin siya.
definitely not.
Well,
No.
the
No,
midnight
just
later.
just
Total
just wait
naka-Coopers
for my
coffee naman tayo kanina.
just wait for
Oo
yes,
nga eh.
Coopers always. You get me a bunch of Coopers, I might reveal it to you guys. But I might save that tidbit for an article down the line in case we get a certain matchup. If you get what I'm saying. Wait, what was the question again? I'm asking, what was the question?
I don't
This
remember.
guy. This guy.
Wait, it was something. Wait, was it my? No, it wasn't my question. Right? It was Simon's. You asked, how will I treat you once UP loses to UST? Well, Simon, I will give you a very warm hug, right? I'm just joking. Don't aggregate that. I am not predicting a
I'm
UST.
starting to regret. I'm starting to regret wearing this. Tapos naka-black kayong dalawa. Damn.
Kasi nga, nakablock ako kasi
Uh,
neutral ako, bro.
okay, no, seriously. What was your question, Simon?
Okay, seriously. Right. I was asking. So put on your coach's hat because sometimes we think that we're better than these coaches. If you were the head coach of LaSalle, how would you limit this towering front line of the Bulldogs?
So, I'm not sure if you guys have noticed this, and it was particularly the case against Ateneo. You guys noticed that when Jacob Cortez brings the ball down, he crosses the half court line almost at 18 or 17 seconds most of the time. In a league and in a day of modern basketball where a lot of teams are now being taught to get into early action, early offense, it's starting to feel like LaSalle and NU are some of the slower teams in the league. Now, some people might question that. LaSalle really they play fast sometimes, yes, but you notice when the game is tight or they're playing a particularly good opponent like a UP, like Ateneo the other day, they wanted to control the tempo of the game, make it a possession battle in their terms. Now, it's effective when you have guys like Marasigan, Abadam, Cortez, who are tough shot makers, and someone like Phillips, who can gather you offensive rebounds in multiple possessions. And by the way, I've said this many times when it comes to the Final Four, the finals, the possession battle winner wins often. However, NU likes playing that style as well. NU can play a grind it out, slow it down offense. They can run on you if you want. They can win through the rebounding battle. So if Baklaan, and by the way, some background information on Baklaan, I believe he's gonna play on Wednesday. There are some tests he has to clear to be cleared to play, but if I had to guess, I would say he is gonna end up playing. So how much will Topex lean into the LaSalle team we saw in the offseason with these two healthy guards of okay, get the ball and run, get the ball and push. Because and I'm going to the Phil Oil finals here. I know some people don't credit the preseason tournament, especially when it comes to the UAP. But you remember that preseason finals between UP and NU, Simon? How UP was able to kind of s- slow down the Bulldogs by running on them, getting points up in a hurry. Because NU likes controlling pace. NU likes controlling momentum and flow of the game. How much will LaSalle muck it up and make it almost a mayhem kind of contest, which I think could benefit them more? What do you guys think?
Well, that's a classic way to contain bigger players than you. Use your speed advantage because you obviously don't have the size and the height advantage. The problem is the Bulldogs are as athletic as they are big, so it will be interesting to see how Coach Topex will balance that approach of um, half court offense defense versus transition offense and defense.
Is that your kid, Simon? Hi to your kid. Who's his prediction?
JJ from Coco Melon. Ang talas ng wow, this microphone is either so
Ah,
sensitive or your ears are perking. Someone's gonna be a dad, so you know those heightened sense.
rinig. Rinig
Rinig?
sa mic,
Okay.
bro. Malakas.
Hi.
Yeah.
All right.
So quick tangent. I told my wife, I saw some Instagram videos where couples are calling each other babe, honey, love, and because the kid around the house hears it a lot, they tend to end up calling their parents those words sometimes. So I'm officially entering my she's got to call me daddy all the time at home era.
Insane, but sure, why not?
I'm the
Simon, you agree with me, right? It
I'm the
makes
only one
logical
who's
sound sense.
I'm the only one who's not laughing childishly because I know exactly
Ah,
what
yeah.
you guys are trying to do, not
Yeah,
what you're
Simon
trying to
goes
do right
by
here.
daddy at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carl, if we
For a
ever visit
certain
Simon at
purpose.
home, we gotta be like, hey, daddy, how's it going?
Hey, Daddy
Actually,
Simon, good
no.
morning.
Oh, damn. Okay, that
That's
pause.
weird.
Pause.
Pause, bro. Damn, what
Okay,
is with
Carl,
me?
maybe instead of daddy, try papi instead.
Ano siya si Dom Escobar?
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Simon's Harold Alarcon might have something to say about that.
Thank you for bringing it back to basketball, Mr. Batumbakan.
I got you. I got you. I got you.
No, okay, so no, Carl, it's your turn. What's your next burning question? How many have you asked? Have you asked two or three?
I think we have three.
No, from your
Ah,
side.
for me, I think I have had one na. One pa lang.
Okay, so ask your second one now.
All right, so the second one is, should NU lean on its perimeter scoring or attack the paint versus the LSU? For this one, I have some stats. Maganda to, masaya. NU ranks first in three-point field goal percentage at 32.64, but they're eighth in perimeter points. So that's 26.21 over 14 games. NU also ranks first total FG percentage, so 42.91, but they're fourth in points in the paint and sixth in 2-point field goal percentage. Meanwhile, LaSalle ranks seventh in total field goals allowed. Field goal percentage, sorry. That's 2-point field goal percentage of 50.57 and 3-point FG percent of 30.35. What do you guys think? Especially you, Navs. Ikaw muna. Sige nga.
So what's the macro question here?
Should NU attack LaSalle on the paint, in the paint, or on the
Hmm.
from the perimeter?
Well, every time that Mike Phillips isn't on the court, you've got to attack them in the paint. You just got to take advantage of your strength at that point and put them in a situation where if you get them in foul trouble early, then they can't be too aggressive with their trapping scheme and the quote unquote mayhem scheme, right? Shout out to Alden Ayo. That's something that's hurt them a few times this year where they can get an early penalty situation and they're such aggressors in the paint, sending double teams. And a lot of times when you have your defense scrambling around, they can be put out of position. And if you're facing a fundamentally sound team, that team can find the opening cracks to get to the rim, maybe get to the free throw line. So I would attack them in the paint as early as possible. I would test that strength, but we should also remember that part of the formula of how NU won the two elimination round matchups against DLSU was by finding efficient perimeter shots and making them. Now, making them is, of course, another question, especially in the Final Four setting. Sorry. But if you can move that ball around, you can force LaSalle to scramble. You can maybe find Parks or Francisco in the corner open from downtown shots. NU has lived and succeeded by the strategy of finding the best shot possible. A lot of times that starts with Jake Figueroa initiating or being the gravitational pull to get his teammates open. And they just have to keep utilizing what's been working all season for them. Because as the old saying goes, Simon, you probably agree with this. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Absolutely. Aside from Jake the Snake Roberts Figueroa, shout out Carl, um, doing the good old drive and kick, I think NU can also play through PJ Palasiano. I was watching the highlights. Can't remember if it was round one or round two, but there was a particular play in that game in which Palasiano got doubled, and hindi ko alam kung paano niya nakita yung mga kakampi niya, but somehow he found Reynardo Mamoy on the weak side, throws a picture perfect cross court pass, Huamoy sinks the three. So when you have a high IQ big man like that, you have another option to draw multiple defenders. Kasi sa tingin ko at this point, si Coach Jeff Napa ay pinagkakatiwalaan na ang tulad ni Palasielo when it comes to not only getting his own points but also setting up his teammates.
What's your take on it, Carl?
My take on it is actually for NU to attack from the perimeter. Contrary to everyone else, I think DLSU would struggle if NU decides to back on their 3-point shooting or even at least on the mid-range. Because again, points in the paint is sucks lang for NU. They're fourth. 2-point field goal percentage is 46.79. That's good for 6. So hindi sila ganun kagaling, surprisingly, in the paint. But what they are good at is in drawing fouls. Now, granted, they can do that. They can draw fouls, but LaSalle has become a much smarter team defensively over the course of the season. Let's not talk about the free throws. Ibang usapan na yan for a different day. But in terms of defense only, from the perimeter and the inside, LaSalle gotten better. So, NU, I think, they have to catch LaSalle by surprise by taking more shots outside.
Quick question about this NU LaSalle series. Now, a lot of us who have followed and watched the UAP from the beginning of the season, I think it goes without saying NU is the favorite in this series. LaSalle is the underdog. I don't think that's extravagant to say when you consider record and head-to-head record as well. But do you get the sense that people might, and when I say people, I mean more of the casual UAP fans, might enter this matchup thinking, dapat panalo dyan Lasal, di ba? even if recent results show us that NU is supposed to win. What you think, Simon?
Pwede ko na bang i-insert dito yung third question ko because it's an efficient transition. Does
Wait,
championship
your last question is NU-DLSU also?
actually it applies for both.
Oh,
So,
okay, go for it. Go for it.
but this is a
Perfect.
perfect place to insert this. Does championship experience matter in either series? Kasi nga, what does NU have in terms of a psychological edge over the Green Archers this season? They have defeated them not once, but two times. What does LaSalle have as an edge over the Bulldogs? Aba, hindi pa nakakapag finals appearance ang NU in the Jeff Napa era, while LaSalle has been there twice and they've reached the summit once, right? In season 86. So, hindi ko rin ma-figure out, kaya ko nga kayo tinatanong kasi hindi ko alam eh. Do I take the fact that those core players, those others, if you want to call it that, yung those who have been playing alongside Kevin Cambao in the past and now Mike Felix and Jacob Cortez, yung mga veteran guards ba na ito ay meron ba talagang edge over an NU team that has uh, just been so dominant this season, pero itong mga core players ng Bulldogs team na ito ay hindi pa nakakarating dun sa finals. So does that even really matter? Yeah, I think it's a good food for thought.
I think it matters in the UAAP. At least when I watch UP in these close late game situations, you just kind of see that the guys who've been there when it's time to put in the kill shot, except against LaSalle, for some reason they just haven't been able to close out LaSalle this season. They have been able to close out every opponent, and that's why for UST UP, one of the interesting characteristics of this series I'm looking out for is how is UST going to handle late fourth quarter situations? Are they going to rely more on trying to outscore UP, or are they going to try and defeat UP by doing the dirty basketball aspects, hustling on the ball for loose balls, fighting for multiple second chance opportunities, tapping the ball outside, making that extra pass to the corner, that extra pass to keep the flow of the ball going. You guys know that Eric Spoelstra is my favorite head coach in the NBA and basketball in general. And one of the things he loves to say is the ball knows basketball karma. And what he means by that, if you take it into account from a consciousness perspective, is if you make that extra pass a few times a game, then ultimately that big shot in the fourth quarter is going to go in. If you try to deflect the ball as much as you can on defense, even if you don't always succeed, then naturally you're building the habits to get that big steal and big defensive stop late in maybe overtime or maybe midway through the fourth quarter to stop the opponents from going on a run. That to me is the biggest question with UST is are they capable of making those plays? Because they're a team that when things are going great, it looks awesome, right? It looks superb. But when they face some adversity, they tend to get a little lost. Now, granted, they faced adversity in that second round game against UP, and I was impressed by how they came back. And that's where I feel Nick Cabanero will be extra important because he is almost like their safety valve when things are going bad. But UP has a ton of experience in that regard. They can beat you not just by trying to outscore you, they can beat you by mucking the game up and using that to their advantage. And before I say that UST has the chance to win the series, I need to see them match UP in that regard in game one. What do you think, Carl?
So does championship experience matter? I think so. Definitely, it does. Going back to Simon's question, because related pa rin naman. But for UST, I think the biggest issue is mentally, kaya ba nila makipagsabayan with UP? UP enjoys playing very, very physical. May mind game sila. And UP will not admit it outright. Even the fans, they will not admit it. Pero, minsan, ang UP namimigay. If you're a basketball fan, you know what that means. UST fans also know what that means. Pero it's part of the game. May
Anong minsan?
magrereklamo ba?
Anong
Ako, no
minsan?
comment ako. No comment ako. Galing ako Ateneo, ha? Ateneo ako.
Carl, I'm
Kasi,
going. Carl, the term you're looking for is borderline, or sometimes not even borderline, outright criminal. I'll say it. Jerry Abadiano is violating these invasion of privacy laws in our land multiple times over. That's how pesky of a defender he is. So to your point, yeah, that psychological edge is something that UST will have to try to match.
ako, no comment na ako dyan kasi hinabol na ako ng UP fans before. So, I will let public opinion decide. Ayoko na. Pagod na yung Twitter ko, okay? Season 82. Naalala ko yun. Anyways, so going back.
Wait lang, wait, you got like attacked by the UP fans on Twitter?
Yeah, bro. Galit sila
What's
kasi
the story
I
here?
tweeted out against UP.
Listen, from someone who's been attacked by all fan bases in the UAAP, including LaSalle, believe it or not, and I'm sure many of you will not believe it, I need to know. So what got you in the hot water? What was the tweet, Carl?
I don't remember the exact tweet kasi syempre 6 seasons ago. Pero it was something about me criticizing UP for playing defense a little too aggressively. I didn't say na it was cheating or madumi sila maglaro. Take note. I said it was a little too rough for my tastes. Sabi nila, bro, basketball yan.
Did you say season 82?
Sino ba
Season
nag-16-0 nun?
82?
Pinapaalala ko lang. Sino ba 16-0 nun? Kami.
Yeah,
Kami.
but right. Okay, hindi ko na
Balik sila
mapaalala
nun.
kung sino yung season 82 Maroons, but I'm thinking, okay, if it was the Golden Monteverde era Maroons, sure, lock them up in jail. Pero season 82? Really?
82, bro. Marami nagagalit. Maraming galit. I swear.
If season 82 was considered physical, Sibon, what would season 84 and beyond be considered?
Cue the Game of Thrones music, tapos lahat ng brutal deaths ng mga Lannisters at ng mga Starks. Ganun. Red Wedding, baby.
Man, oh
Ay,
man.
nako.
Alam mo, when I watch UP on defense, ako napapagod para sa kabilang opponent eh. I'm like, Jesus, how tired must you guys be after the game? But, as someone once said, it's not physical basketball, it's Philippine basketball. And the one who said that one time was head coach Alden Ayo, hence why he's physical defense. So, okay, let's get to my last burning question here. Well, it's simple. He averaged 10 points, 4 assists, 3 boards before getting hurt midway through the season. Will Kian Baclaan hurt or help De La Salle University in their series against NU? Simon, I'll start with you.
Obviously, this is not a black and white question. Siyempre, merong pros and cons yan. But I think the pros will outweigh the cons for Kian Baclaan. First of all, good on this kid if he indeed is going to be making his comeback in this postseason. We all saw that heartfelt post on social media, and you could just see the heartbreak on such a talented player. Pero kung babalik siya, kudos to you, man. He can help LaSalle by giving Jacob Cortez some much needed relief minutes, get some buckets here and there, set up his teammates, push the pace, dictate the tempo. Para sa akin, icing on the cake na lang yun. But obviously, nasan yung rhythm niya, nasan yung timing niya, nasan yung decision making niya. As talented as he is, right? So it's not like getting on a bicycle. So at the end of the day, though, I think the depth that Baclaan will allow LaSalle to wield, right, will help them more than it will hurt them against NU.
Carl, how about you?
Not to be a hater of Kian Baclaan, but I think he will be hurting DLSU's chances a little bit. I don't want to say na siya yung magiging deciding factor as to why DLSU will lose the series or the Final Four matchup. Pero Jacob Cortez is on a roll right now as it is. If you put Kian Baclaan into the mix right now, I think madidisrupt si Jacob. And that's not to say na panira si Kian Baclaan because he's talented. It's just that he's coming in with the fans expecting him to be 100%. I'm not sure if he will be 100% if he is cleared on Wednesday, because injuries like that, it takes time to heal. Pero you don't take the ball out of your number one option right now. If you're the LSU, or if I'm Coach Topex, you keep it in Jacob's hands. If you have to play Kian Baclaan, or if you want to play Kian Baclaan, make him a spot up shooter. Weird take, medyo hot take, pero keep him as a spot up shooter. I think he might hurt
Hmm.
Lasal.
Interesting. And by the way, Luis in the comments just compared Kian Bakla to Jameer Nelson. Sheesh.
Oy, grabe ka.
Jameer. Hey, didn't Jameer Nelson make the. No, he got injured in '09 when Orlando made the finals, right? And then he came
Yeah.
back for the finals.
And
Yeah, but he
Stan
was
Van
good.
Gundy was sort of forcing him when in fact Rafer Skip to Mylou Alston was doing a great job quarterbacking for the Magic. Some say that decision heavily cost the Magic against Kobe and the Lakers.
Well, back to Baklaan here. Now, will Kian's return impact the way Jacob plays the game? I think yes, because the ball has been in Jacob's hands a lot since the injury took place. Did LaSalle look better on offense after Baklan and Amos get hurt? Yes, I think that's kind of fair to say. It's not because they're not good players, it's because the team was in desperation mode and find an identity by being a gritty, tough team that still couldn't make free throws, but that goes without saying at this point when it comes to DLSU. However, Mike Phillips improving at the free throw line. You need to point that out. That faster shooting rhythm as of late has been working. Now, maybe it's just the basketball aficionado in me talking, someone who's been watching hoops for the better part of 30 years. When it comes to big games, you just need fearless players more and more and more. You do. And Baklan to me is fearless. Now, sometimes the fearlessness can be to the detriment of the team, but when he's got it going, he just opens up the floor for everybody else. The drives to the rim, the kickouts to the shooters, pushing the pace for easy scoring opportunities in transition. And I think LaSalle will need that against NU. So if I had to lean, I would say help because blue chip recruits in bigger games, especially those who have experience in these big games like the Final Four, they find ways to step up. And I think that's what we're going to see Kian do. The question to me will be how often does NU attack him on the other end, on defense? How often will they try to get Kian switched out to their bigger wings? How often will they try to make him defend ball screen action and test his lateral strength? Because he wasn't a shutdown defender while healthy, and now he's probably not going to be in tip top shape yet. So, how often NU will test that and how quickly they will is something I'm going to be looking out for. All right, gentlemen, do we have any more burning questions? Simon, have you asked all three?
I've asked mine. I think Carl has one more. Tama
One
ba?
more? Carl, you have
I think
one
I
more,
have
I think,
one
right?
more. Pero ano lang, I think very short na lang for everyone else. So, still relates to DLSU, but can DLSU rely on EJ Goliena and Earl Abadam and Doy Dungo by extension to shoot better from the perimeter?
Hmm. I think they have no
General
choice
question na
but to
lang.
do so. Diba? They have to. Now, granted, Earl has really become something of a big game shooter since that first round game against UP. Nowadays, when you see him lift up for a mid range jumper or a 3-point shot in the fourth quarter, it tends to go in as of late. Now, people say, yeah, but he missed the game winner against Adamson. But remember, before the game winner he missed, he hit that big outside shot that got them closer. EJ Goliena, I don't see him as someone LaSalle will need to be a scorer, but he needs to be more of that glue guy, the hustle guy, more like the dirty play kind of person who can poke the ball out of someone's hands in a fast break situation. The person who will take a foul rather than give up an easy two. someone who will crash the board and get you 2 extra possessions in the second half. That to me is what EJ can do. Now, Doi Dungo, I think he is more important because he has kind of been the reliever for Jacob as of late, and he's been better. Now, sometimes he can take a few mid-range shots that drive Stopex crazy if you watch the bench reactions. But then there are also times that he is just so crafty getting to the rim and he can finish with the right hand or the left hand with the layup. And LaSalle will need as much offense as they can get. At their best, LaSalle is humming when the wing players and the depth is contributing. And there's one more guy I'm going to mention here who I think might be the most important from all of them, Carl, and that's JC Makalalag. I think LaSalle needs him the most. After Cortez, Phillips, I think JC is the next most important player because he can stretch the floor, he can attack closeouts, he's stingy on the defensive end. If he doesn't play well, I don't think LaSalle has a chance to win. Unless the others like Abadam, Goliana all have fantastic performances. But from that wing collection, JC is kind of the all-around Swiss Army knife they need the most.
If you had to line up all the wings on the Green Archers roster right now, uh, Abadam, Makalalag, Marasigan, I'd say I'd be most afraid of Marasigan. Precisely because of his performance as of late, inside outside attack na talaga siya. He's figured out his offense, and his offense, I would also say, has finally caught up with his defense. So dati yung identity ni Boris ay hustle, physicality, toughness on the defensive end. Now he has the perimeter game, the mid-range game to match it. So yeah, Marasigan is definitely someone to watch out for in the Final Four. Nash,
Navs
you're unmuted.
muted ka, bro.
Sorry about that. What I was saying is, in this scenario, I think where Marasigan can contribute the most is kind of being like the player that you mentioned, the hustle guy, the extra rebounds, the putback opportunities, tapping the ball out for another possession. Because if you're gonna try to beat NU's defense with ISO plays, where granted Marasigan does shine, he really does. He's been doing a good job of that as of late. I think that plays into what NU wants you to do because then they can get the rebound, they can run, and those wings can score. But if and they because of DLSU's lack of size against a big NU team, I feel like where Marasigan will really be key is keeping off Palacielo Padrones from the offensive glass, keeping off Omar John without punching him in the stomach from the offensive glass as well, and making plays for his teammates. We have seen Voris do a great job making plays for himself, especially in crunch time situations. And there will be chances for him to get the ball late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and maybe score 2 key field goals, right? But his size and he's going up against guys bigger than him, I think is the most important part for this series against a pretty big NU team. Now, I think we've answered most of the questions. Anything else you guys want to follow up with, Simon, Carl?
Okay na ako. Baka makancel na
Okay,
naman ako.
well. Hey, Carl, I have a question for you.
What's up?
How much did you believe the 5-0 Ateneo prediction was going to happen before that got showered down?
Wholeheartedly, I believed in it. Honestly. Jokes aside from everything else, I believed in it because Ateneo looked like they were gonna play normally or back to round one form until they broke my heart 4 times. So, God bless.
All right.
Love you, boys.
Let's get to some questions here. First, from our guy Paulo Perez, NCAA Final Four thoughts. Ooh, I haven't followed the NCAA as much as I really wanted to this season, but to me, San Beda looks like the best team right now. However, they're facing a CSB team that, while they've defeated them twice this season, I feel like CSB is gonna give them quite a fight as well. So I don't really know where that series is gonna go. I am very curious to see how John T. Miller performs. He's the guy I'm watching the most for this NCAA Final Four. And I think Perpetual has as good a chance as San Beda does to win the championship as well. But I think I'm going to go San Beda if I had to make a prediction. How about you guys?
Ako, I'll be honest, I haven't watched the NCAA as much as I wanted to as well. But based on the highlights and the very, very small tidbits I've been seeing, honestly, CSB has been figured out as who said that? I think Kiwi said that. CSB has been figured out. Much respect to Coach Charles. I think it's gonna be a CSB, not a CSB year, but a San Beda year. So shout out to my people from San Beda. Good luck, guys.
Simon, how about you? Any NCAA thoughts?
John T. Miller looks like the next big thing. Make of that what you will. One and done naman siya. But yeah, I can't wait to see. Actually, next season na yung nilook forward ko. I can't wait to see my boy, Aldos Torculas, wearing the red and white. Ayos ba, San Beda fans?
In the UAAP or the NCAA?
Hoy!
Ewan ko sa'yo.
I'm gonna
Bahala
get
ka
some
dyan.
text messages after this episode comes out. Okay, some other questions we saved here from Hitachi. Navs, can you tell us kung sino-sino yung hindi na makakalaro for next season each school things? Kaimani Ladi, Dom Escobar, Jaden Lazo, Nick Cabaniero, Forsky Padrigao, Kyle Paranada, Jake Figueroa, Ian Manansala, Steve Nash Enriquez, Omar John, PJ
Maroon
Palacielo
5.
also, I think. The Maroon 5, Alarcon, Felicilda, Torres, Abadiano, and Fortea. Michael Phillips, Bright Tuanco, but he hasn't really played this season, if we're being honest. Adamson, Sed Manzano, the Ronzone twins. FEU, I believe Neil Owens is a one and done, so he's not coming back anymore. But Joric Bautista will be coming back apparently, so that's another reason to be excited about FEU next season. Did I miss any team? Oh, UE. John Abate definitely not coming back. I don't know. Maybe half or 3/4 of the roster might not be back next season, but that's for different reasons. UE community, we are with you. We want you guys to be competitive again. We're just hoping the program can be fixed. Next question. What's your thoughts for NU basketball for Final Four and championship contender status? What should NU do to secure the Final Four victory and a chance of winning a championship? Simon, I'll let you take this one.
Okay. Let's go with something that's easier said than done. Win on Wednesday. Kasi sa tingin ko, doon napapasok yung championship experience if you allow LaSalle to stick around for a second game in this Final Four series. I think their experience when it comes to these postseason games, going the distance, dyan na papasok yan. So I think NU's best chance of making the making the finals for the first time in the Jeff Napa era will be this Wednesday. So yeah, get business done.
Carl, may malaking sale ba sa SM kung mag-champion NU?
Hoy! Bakit ako pinapain mo, hayop? Ayoko nan!
Ready ka na ba sa Hanes t-shirts mo that you need to purchase?
Buisit ka, lumabo tuloy yung camera ko, hayop.
NU
Ayaw
naman, if
mag-normal.
champion. See, Carl is
Wala na.
panicking now.
Ayaw na nung camera ko, sumuko na.
Sayang,
Ginawa
kakatapos
mo
lang
kasi.
ng Black Friday sale. I mean, maybe SM can have its own Black Friday sale if NU wins the championship. Okay, Carl is
So,
trying to fix his camera. Let's see if we can get him back in a bit. So, Simon, okay, I guess it's time to make predictions. Like I said earlier, we were considering not making any predictions given the nature of fans online, but screw it, it's all for the fun and love of the game. Go ahead. Who's going to be in the finals and how many games is it going to take for each team to win? And for those tuning in to the episode right now, send us your predictions in the comments as well. Go for it, Simon.
It's my turn to get cancelled, and Carl is here to watch me get cancelled. UP in 1, NU in 2. What about you, Carl?
Ano sabi mo? Sorry, UP in 1?
I said UP in one, NU in two. What about you, Carl?
UP in 1, NU in 2.
Hey, Carl, what
Alam mo,
happened?
alam mo, bahala na yung camera. Leave it
Carl,
be.
you're muted,
Hayaan mo
bro.
na.
You're muted.
Brother, hayaan
I
mo
want
na.
you to do the hand gesture again, okay? We all needed to see that.
Hayaan mo na. Let it be. Let
Wait, we
it
still
be.
can't hear you, Carl.
No, I
Talaga
can hear.
ba?
I can hear him.
Oh,
I
there
can
you
hear
go.
him.
There you go. Oh,
I
you
Ah,
can
can
hear
good.
hear
him.
him? I can't hear him.
What?
Oh, man. What's he saying?
He's saying that he's ready to make several purchases of Hanes apparel
Hoy!
once NU.
Ayop!
He's hiding. He's hiding. Wait, Carl, why
Bahala
can't
na.
we hear
Yan.
you? Can you say something?
Yo!
He said, "Yo."
Okay, I can't hear him. Carl, try reconnecting again.
Ay. Teka.
Sorry about that, man. For some
Damn, my
reason,
bad.
I can only hear someone. I think someone from SM has turned off Carl's microphone for
I'll be
public
his,
consumption.
I was gonna say, I'll be his medium, and he's alive. I can assure you, folks, that Carl Batong Bakal is alive and well. His camera, I think, meron pa bang CDR King? But God bless Carl's camera and the rest of his apparatus. Ano ba plural na apparatus?
Apparati?
Why am I
Aperol?
asking this?
No,
I'm
that's a
supposed to know this.
drink.
Anyway, hindi ko alam. Anyway, yeah. So you're really saving your prediction until Carl comes back.
Okay, wait. He's back now. I want to see why can't I hear him? I think
Am I good
okay,
now?
Carl. There you are. We can hear you
Yeah.
now.
We
Yan.
Okay,
couldn't see
sayang.
you.
So, rest in peace, my SM Carl Batungbakal conspiracy theory.
SM Mafia got to me. The joke lang. Hindi,
So, what's your prediction, Carl?
So, Simon said, NU in 2, UP in 1. Tama? Actually, baliktad ako. It's NU in 1, UST in 2.
Okay, here we go. Mr. Batumbakal is back. Yo, you went from saying UST was the fifth best team in the UAAP to having them in the finals. Is there like a correction here that you're trying to do?
Hindi, actually wala. It's just base of the game, I think. I think it's gonna favor UST. If it ever goes into 2. I think it will be a massive problem for UP if they let UST hang around. If they let UST hang around, it's a problem. Because UP has to close them out ng Wednesday. If it goes to kailan ba next game? Saturday or Sunday, whichever one. I think we're gonna see a Nick Cabanero legacy game or at least a Fortsky Padregao legacy game.
What does a legacy game look like?
I don't know, 35 points on like 10 out of 15 shooting. I don't know.
Wait, okay. I just want this on the record. You're saying Nick Cabanero is gonna have 35 points in game 2 to win the series against UP.
He has to para ma-secure.
But will he? Do you think? Because you're predicting UST will secure. So are you saying there's a good chance we're gonna see this?
I
Definitely
think
not a good chance, pero less than 5%, sure.
Carl was trying
He's-
to avoid getting backed into a corner, and someone here in this call is actually trying to back him into a corner. So
Hindi,
parang
okay lang. Masaya mag-back into a corner, bro. 6 years.
Wait. Someone just said baka Nico Rocha clip si Carl. What's the Nico Rocha clip? Do you guys know
Ano
what
yun?
this is?
Ano yung
Nico,
context
are
mo?
you? I think Nico might be watching right now. Nico, what does the Nico Rocha clip mean? We need to know. Did Nico say something that went viral? Okay, we'll try to find
no.
out. We'll try.
Sige.
But if whatever this Nico Rocha clip is happens to Carl, I'm just gonna say that it will be quite entertaining. Am I right, Carl?
Oh yeah, of course. It's the UAP. I am with a live mic right now. I am enjoying life.
By the way, guys, I'm not sure if our listeners are familiar with Mr. Henny Gidwani, Vikash Gidwani, who rumor has it drank a bottle of Henny last night and ran a 10 km in the Minion run this morning. Shout out to Vic. His prediction, my mystical ball says otherwise. DLSU beats NU both games. UP beats UST right away, like ASAP. DLSU beats UP for the ship. Book it. Mystic Ball emoji. Ah, well, race of hands. Who has the utmost trust on Vikash's predictions? One, two, three.
Si Vic yan eh. What are we doing?
But Carl, he did predict correctly as he wanted to remind you the other day that Ateneo would miss the Final Four.
Well, he got lucky. Let it be.
Okay, my prediction real quick. I think DLSU wins in 2 games. I think UP wins in 2 games as well, and we have the trilogy LaSalle versus UP in the finals. I'm sticking with my preseason prediction. All right, quick life corner because our defined gentleman, Mr. Simon Redoblado, has some daddy duties in a little bit. So, Simon, what's your life corner segment?
How apropos that I'm going to be talking about my children. So, number one, my eldest, Mikael, is turning 6 in a couple of weeks. So, happy birthday to him. And then, when we were watching the Ateneo LaSalle game last Wednesday, my second child, Miguel, was doing this during the school hymns for both schools. I find it very funny that a Lasalista and an Atenista are with me right here in this podcast because parang hindi niya ginagawa yun dun sa UP naming mahal. He just sings it. Pero dun sa school hymns ng Ateneo at ng Lasal, talagang nakaganon siya. So, where he's gonna end up, di natin alam.
Interesting. What if your son ends up in Ateneo and Ateneo is at an era again where they're dominating nonstop? Are you gonna pull the "I'm happy for you, son" daddy trick, or are you gonna be about the "hell no, do your chores, little guy"?
Pag battle of Katipunan, I'll probably trash talk him. But it's a different story if he's not actually just a spectator, but a player on that Blue Eagles roster.
Interesting. I like that. You gotta pay for those better basketball training sessions early though. Okay, Carl. Now let's go with mine first. Mine probably won't be as interesting as Carl's. My life corner. So I had an interaction with an Adamson fan in the Adamson versus DLSU game at Mo Arena. Nothing too crazy. I was at the ATM withdrawing some money, and then I hear someone say, "Naveen, ano, laglag na ba kami today?" Talking about Adamson, because if you recall, had Adamson lost that game, they would have been eliminated from Final Four contention. And me, I'm like, hindi, panalo yan, panalo yan. And I kid you not, he replies to me and he's like, hindi, laglag na yan eh. So I'm like, okay, sure. And then Adamson wins the game. And then I get a comment on Facebook that same night, and the guy is like, tama ka nga, Naveen. Hindi pa laglag. By the way, natalo namin ang prediction mo. Masaya na kami. And I'm just like, all right, bro. Happy for you. More power. But I do want to just take this moment. All seriousness, gents. I am not joking around. Serious. From my lips to God's ears. I have enjoyed my interaction with the Adamson fans this year. I know a lot of them don't like the predictions when they're not in the Final Four, but it's never, below the belt, never nothing that goes overboard, shall we say. It's a lot of teasing, back and forth, asara ng konti, but to some degree, it's a microcosm of the UAP spirit and why we love watching this league. So, Adamson fans, see y'all next year when you guys win. You know what? I'll save that for the preseason prediction. Carl, you go next.
Problema ka minsan eh. Nakakatakot ka eh. Okay, anyways, for my life corner. So, last Wednesday, I watched in heartbreak Ateneo fall to Lasal. Umiyak ako. Aminin ko yun, umiyak ako for Josh Lazaro because the kid deserves the world. Josh Lazaro, one of the greatest people I've met from Ateneo, one of the best, one of the nicest. So, pauwi na ako, magre-record kami ni Naveen, driving home from the Smart Araneta Coliseum in Cubao. So, nasa may Katipunan, close to it. Sabi ko, iaabot ako sa recording namin ni Navs 11:30. Pagka-message ko sa magulang ko na pauwi na ako, habang naka-stop, may motor. For whatever
Oh,
reason,
here
hindi
we
ko alam ba't siya
go.
nagmamadali. Hindi ko alam
My
ba't siya
motor.
nagmamadali. Brother, 11 p.m. nagmamadali ka pa? Uuwi tayo lahat, okay? So anyways, motorcycle, Jesus Christ. So, medyo slow speed, medyo slow. Tapos may motor na gumit-git for whatever reason. Bro, kita mo traffic, di ba? Did you expect na makakalusot ka safely? So nagkagasgas yung kotse. I was able to buff it out kahapon actually. So nagkuskus ako ng side ng kotse hoping na matatanggal. Buti na tanggal with wax. But this guy, sabi ko, anong ginagawa mo, bro? Sabi na, hindi, wala sir, nagmamadali lang po ako. Obviously, nagmamadali ka. Kasi hindi ka babangga sa akin kung hindi ka nagmamadali. Nilaloko mo ba ako? So, I had to message Navs. Navs, pauwi na ako actually. Hindi ako abot sa podcast recording. Sabi niya, bakit bro? Ang sabi ko, pupunta ako ng police station kasi kailangan ko mag-file para sa insurance. Alam mo, gano'n ka nakakasama ng loob yun? Nag-miss ka ng podcast recording, that's one. Talo na nga Ateneo. Number 3 na talo pa kami sa Lasal. On a Wednesday evening. Parang lahat ba galit sa akin for some reason? Lahat ng malas
Wait.
bumagsak ng Wednesday eh.
So, my question is, nung tinanong mo, ano nangyari? Did he do the usual, sale? Kasi, alam mo na.
Hindi. It's mas masaya dyan. Mas masaya, hindi siya nagkamot na ulo kasi may helmet eh. Hindi na tinanggal yung helmet niya the whole time. For whatever reason, ewan ko. Ang ginawa lang niya, hindi ko alam sir, yung sa batok lang pero hindi sa helmet. So sa likod ng batok na ganyan siya. Actually sir, di ko alam, nagmamadali kasi ako eh. Obviously, nagmamadali ka. Uuwi na nga lang ako eh.
What happened sa police station? So both you and the motorcycle rider had to go.
Yes. So
And how
magpa-file
long
ako
did the filling
ng
out?
incident report. Like 45.
So what time ka
I think nakita mo, I think 45 minutes. Nakita mo yung story ko yata. I think I got home around 1:30. Mag-edit ako ng pictures from the game. Nag-edit ako the following morning na pagod na ako. Ayoko na.
Oh, man. Well,
I quit.
most
Terrible.
importantly is that you're okay and nothing too extreme happened. But I feel you. I mean, I think a lot of us who drive in Manila have motorcycle stories that most of the time for the worse ends up in unfortunate situations. But like I said, happy you have your health, happy you were able to join us for this podcast episode. And I hope that the loss didn't sting too much the next day. And hey, at least, but question. Sorry, it just popped into my mind now. Would it have been simpler considering buffing lang naman na nag-send ka na lang ng bill sa rider tapos binayaran niya na lang? Or siya yung
Wala
nag-insist sa
sila.
insurance?
Sorry. Ayaw maging that type of driver pero alam ko wala siyang pambayad because nasa na may Grab siya eh. So alam kong wala siyang pambayad. So hindi na ako makikipag-areglo. Just let's go to the police station. Let's get this over with. God bless. So yun, that's what happened.
God bless indeed. Well, like I said, I'm glad that you're okay. And you still ended up in this podcast episode after all. And it was a lot of fun talking to you and Simoun. Simoun, thanks for joining. And this was our first live podcast in a long, long time. I'm so, so, so grateful for the engagement, the comments, those of you live. Really, much love. It's insane to me that so many of you want to hear us three blabbering guys who are just passionate about the UAAP, talk about the league, talk about our predictions that will 100% come back to haunt us in one way or another. But it's all for the love of the game. And that's the most that I think a basketball fan can ask for, whether a podcaster or a listener. Thank you to Cooper's Coffee House. Thank you to our friends over at Daily Fantasy. Referral code and link in the description box. A lot of money on the line entering Christmas, so make sure you check that out. Simoun, Karl, Jens, have yourselves a good Sunday. Thank you for joining me.
Deuces.
Happy Sunday, boys.